First of all, I'd like to give credit to Iowa. They're a tough team. They did a really good job of defending us, and obviously, we didn't come out on the right end. I think our guys, we tried to challenge them to make it a four-quarter game and to pour it out for each other, and I think that's visible on tape. There's some things that we got to get corrected, and we will going back. We're looking forward to getting to do it one more time. We got a trophy game coming up with the team in state, and I know our guys will be fired up to play. But once again, Iowa did a great job. They're a great program, and these are games that they're going to sting a little bit, but we're going to be ready to go in the future.
Okay, questions?
Coach, was there any point where you're thinking, what would Brett do? Did you do that at all or not?
A little bit. I think Coach did a great job all week of just having Zoom calls with our staff and kind of laying out his vision and trying to play the game through us and giving us an opportunity to ask questions. And he told us, how he felt about certain situations. So, he gave us a great opportunity. He led a great game plan in terms of having guys ready to go. And you're always wondering but the last thing he told us is, you got to do what you think is right. He's trained us well, and we try to follow that plan as best.
Was the quick start kind of a product of what you guys had done going up the game?
I'm sorry.
Was the quick start kind of a product of that? What you just talked about?
Yeah, that was one of the things that we've been trying to work on since the bye, is just trying to get going and getting some points early. And Tony Peterson did a great job of putting the game plan, and the guys did a great job of executing it. That we went down there, Brandon was on target, guys made plays, were able to be balanced. So that's something that we were really trying to emphasize, just being more balanced and trying to, get points early, because our defense has been playing so well, just trying to build a lead and allow them to have some momentum behind them.
George, why do you think the offense struggled to sustain that, especially in the second half where you guys couldn't really get much first go?
I think it was penalties. I think that's the biggest thing, and it's kind of been a little thing the last couple games is, we start off and we have a positive play, and then now we're back in the negative, and that's, as for any team, it's hard to get over. And I think we just had a little bit of that we didn't have early, is we just had a couple penalties on first down. Now you're 1st and 25, and those are things we've got to just try to do better at and clean up.
How do you feel, like, obviously the defense has made big strides this year. What do you think the offense has to do to kind of make similar big strides to kind of get over that hump?
I think we're close, and I think, it starts with turnovers and penalties and mental errors. Coach talks about it all the time, and I think today it was the penalties. We had some turnovers late, but I think we keep growing, and we got one more chance, one more opportunity to come together and put it all together. And I think when we're in rhythm and we're doing the things that we feel like help us win, we're really good. And anybody can say that, by just staying in that moment and staying in that rhythm of not hurting yourself and just taking what the defense gets you. I think that's something that we're always preaching, and we're really close, and we look really good, and we just got to stay in that moment longer.
Coach, the running game in particular really couldn't get anything going. Were you tinkering with that, trying to find something to get it going? And was it more just Iowa playing good defense?
You got to give credit to Iowa. They tried to make us play one-handed, and they tried to stop the run, and they did some nice things in the run game. I think we fell off a couple blocks on the perimeter, and it just got to those things where we knew a matchup was on the perimeter, and we tried to isolate those matchups, and unfortunately that was able to keep us in the game. We always want to try to establish the run, but at the end of the day, we kind of got to just go with what's helping us move the ball, and just the pass game kind of got us going this week.
How'd you think Brandon did?
I think he did good. I think there's always plays we want back, but I love Brandon to death. I think you've just seen so much growth of him over the season, and I think he's really trying to play at a high level, and I think he's getting guys around him to try to play at a high level. And sometimes as a quarterback, you get too much credit and you get too much blame, but the way he comes in and prepares every day, man, he's a really good person, really good player. Just disappointed I can help him get this win tonight.
George, in those moments where somebody needs to make a decision that usually would be Brett, who was in charge of that today without him?
Well, Coach had a plan, in terms of who had the final call. It was really up to the coordinators on each side of the ball, depending on what the situation was. And then, on the 4th down, when we kind of made a collective, we called the timeout and just talked about it as a collective group. And we felt like we had a good play and a good opportunity to convert. And with the way the game was going, we just thought that was the best opportunity at that time to try to keep it going and go down and score.
What was this week? Well, this is obviously a chair that you want to be in at some point in your career. What was this week like for you, kind of stepping into that larger? I know Brett was present for a lot of it, but just what was this experience like for you this week?
It was a whirlwind. I was sitting at my desk working on some tips and reminders, and I get a call from Coach, and he's like, "All right, it's your turn." But it's not about me. He's put together an awesome staff from everybody that he's hired. I was the one that he chose to sit in this chair, but any person in that room could have sat in this chair, and they would have just kept doing the same thing. The one thing that I've been impressed with, Coach, is nothing is, oh gosh, we have to do that. Like, he's thought of things way before time, and you know what I mean, I'm just disappointed we couldn't get this win for him, because like, he gave us every opportunity and our kids gave us every opportunity to get it. But we're building something special. We're looking forward to next week, and we're going to be excited to play.
I mean, defensively, just to force Iowa to kick a bunch of field goals and keep you in the game, did that make the offensive struggles maybe a little more frustrating, just because there were opportunities there and maybe you couldn't take advantage?
I mean, as an offense, like, if you're not scoring every time, you're kind of frustrated. I mean, I think the way our defense plays is inspiring. I mean, like, they give us confidence because they go out and they put out the fire repeatedly over and over, and that's a testament to Ryan Walters and his defensive staff, Coach Kane and those guys. They do a phenomenal job, and our guys feed off of that. You know, when they get a stop and they get a big play, they're ready to go out and execute, and you know, it's just a matter of us continuing to build the chemistry, continuing to clean up our little mistakes, and pretty soon we're gonna have a team that's gonna be fun to watch, and it's gonna be hard to beat.
George, defensively at nose tackle, when you're healthy, you're already dealing with depth issues, but when you're down Rod and Jamal today, what was the plan to just kind of try to keep it together interiorly on the defense?
I mean, I think they had a great rotation. I mean, guys, they were in some bad situations and they stopped them cold. I mean, that defense, what Ryan does, what J-Mo does, what those guys do is phenomenal. You know what I mean? And it's the next man up, and those guys believe in that. We believe in that as a program, obviously, and you know, those guys play hard and they love each other, and I think that's the biggest thing that I take out of this week is there's so much love in that building. Like, if we can continue to build on that and continue to do the things that we're doing, like, it's going to be fun. And like I said, I know we're not on the right side, but like, the defense is dominating, the offense is getting where it's got to go, but it's going to be a really special time.
How soon will you talk to Brett?
He's probably calling my phone right now. You know what I mean? Coach is awesome. You know, I can't wait to talk to him. And like I said, I'm disappointed because I wanted to give him the game ball. You know what I mean? Like, I love this place. I love Coach B. You know, I think there's a lot of people in there that are hurting because we wanted to get this done, and there was chances for us to get it done, and we didn't. So we got to get better, and we will next week. But you know, we're gonna love him up. He's gonna love us up, and we're gonna keep getting better as a team.
Coach, you mentioned an opportunity to get it done today. It's obviously been kind of the story of the season when you think about some of the other losses. How much of that is just part of building a program and learning how to get wins?
I mean, it's the building process. You know, I mean, you build a house, you lay the foundation. When I came in and we went through the transition with Josh, I don't think we won a game. Then we went 3, and then it took off. You know what I mean? I think there's really good players here, but there's still difference in building the program the way Coach wants it, the way we want it, and sometimes you have to go through these ugly times and these hard times to get to the other side. You know, I think TA, Coach let him talk, and he talked about adversity, and adversity makes you stronger. And when Coach had, you know, guest captains come back from my era and from Josh's era, like, we talked about the adversity that we went through that makes us strong as we are as men, as adults, as parents, but it makes you a strong team. So I have so much confidence in Coach B and the men in this room and the guys on this team that we're going to go through this adversity, but when we come out of it, we're going to be really, really strong, and we're going to be a really hard team to beat.
George, I know you said this isn't about you, but you shared on the radio show that you and Josh maybe had a minute at the 50-yard line at some point this week with practice, and kind of reflected on where you were back then and where you guys are now. When you go to bed tonight, what are you going to just kind of, as you unwind from this week, like, what's going to stick out to you about what this was?
Just the guys, like, as a position coach, like, you have like narrow focus, right? You're just worried about the receivers, and then getting into this seat, you kind of have to have bigger focus, and you see everybody, and you don't realize, and I've used this, you don't realize how many great guys we have in this program and how much they love each other and love to play for each other. I mean, we had Ryan out, then we had Coach out, and then you throw me out there, and it's like, all right, Coach, I got you. What do you want us to do? And they had great weeks of practice, great energy, and it was the first time for me as a coach, just not working on my group, but seeing everybody. I mean, we got great guys in this program. We got great coaches in this program. I know it's not where we want it to be, but like, I know that it's going to be where we want it to be, and it's going to happen. And when it does, it's going to be something special to watch.
George, what will those moments be like when Brett comes back and you guys get to be around him once again?
We'll probably give him a big hug, and I'll give him back his head coach whistle and say, you know, I mean, Coach is so special. He's so dynamic. You know, he has a way of talking to everybody and getting everybody to connect and putting all the pieces together, and you know, he's our leader. You know what I mean? So as soon as we can get him back, you know, we're going to just follow his lead, and he's going to lead us to the trophy game, and we're going to go out there and fight harder and hopefully get it done.
All right, thanks, George. We'll have